Alright, so here is a video of my 350Z that's up for sale. So we have a nice little red key fob, keys. We have blackout headlights that have LEDs in them, which are nice. Factory 18-inch wheels. We do have wheel spacers installed in here, so it kind of helps a little bit with where the tires sit on the car. So there is wear and tear on here. I mean, this is a little bit of an older car. A lot of the damage that's on here is stuff that was already on there when I bought the car. So there's a little bit of a scrape or something here. And let's see. This side's pretty clean. I mean, there's like a ding, tiny little ding here. And then the place that has probably the most wear on it is the hood. So there are some marks on here on the hood, and those are pretty much on there when I bought the car many years ago, and I just left it as is. But if you wanted to, you could fix that up. I never did. The car was kept outside for me, so I just chose not to fix those things. There is tint on the front windows. I think it's like maybe 40% or so, and then tint on the back. There are some marks here, but I think this just needs a little bit of like wax or something. So on this car, this quarter panel, actually no, sorry. This rear bumper and this quarter panel were repainted. I have like the receipts for this work. As far as like issues with the car, the only things that are really wrong with it, it definitely needs front lower ball joints to get through inspection. Some of the stuff that I've done over time is just the rear wheel bearings have been done. I've done rotors and pads, but it may need rotors and pads sometime soon. But it's perfectly drivable and fine right now. Rear tires are probably coming up on needing replacement, but they're not too bad. But I would definitely replace the rear tires. They're definitely starting to look pretty worn at this point. Front tires I think should be pretty good. Front tires are fine. I think I mentioned in my description, there is a little bit of noise from the throwout bearing. So there is a revised throwout bearing that is available for these cars. I highly suggest doing that. I've had the noise ever since I've owned the car, and I didn't really care too much about addressing it because it requires taking the transmission out. One other thing I can mention is that third gear is notchy in this car, and it's probably been notchy for like the last 40,000 miles or so. I've had the car, so I never really chose to address that just because it drove perfectly fine. But I mean, this has the older CD003 transmission, which does have issues with the transmission getting really notchy, and then sometimes it can become difficult to shift into third. So that's just worn out synchros, kind of comes with the territory for these cars. I'd recommend getting a revised transmission if you get this car at some point in time. I mean, you can drive it just the way that it is, but I mean, I do think that it's something I probably would have done, you know, over longer term ownership. Some other things, there is like this carbon fiber vent thing that's in the front, but it's kind of worn, might need new clear coat, or just get rid of it altogether. And then a little bit of clear coat is having an issue here. So this bumper was actually replaced by me when I first got the car, like a very long time ago. Kind of just went back to factory. It had some other older aftermarket bumper on it that didn't fit as well. But yeah, I think that kind of covers the issues as far as I can remember. So I did switch out to a red leather interior in this car. Looks pretty cool. It's pretty clean. Let's see. It does have Navi in it, but honestly, it's ancient. Don't really use that at all. I did swap out the radio. Does need a little bit of a wipe down in here. Sorry, I don't drive this car anymore. And the other thing that I think needs replacement are these. I have replacement leather pieces that go on here. This driver's side one is worn out, and I have all new red leather that will match these seats to go on there. So I have a cut piece that's meant to go in position. So let's go ahead and start it up. Air conditioning could definitely probably use a little bit of a recharge. It's been a little while since I've done that. This window regulator has been replaced. Let's go for a little bit of spin. This all works. Has a dimming mirror with HomeLink. We do have a tire pressure light, but that's just because the car's been sitting for a while. The only tire that loses a little bit of air is the front driver's side. It does kind of leak a tiny bit. So I would recommend maybe getting that resealed or something, or getting that checked. I never really had any reason to get it fixed. It was so slow, and then regularly driving the car, it really never had any problems. But if it does sit for a long time, like this car it does right now, I would recommend getting that looked at. Sounds really good. I did replace the exhaust with a factory exhaust at some point in time. Engine runs strong. If you know anything about VQ35s, I mean, these cars do use a little bit of oil. So I recommend putting a cord in between oil changes. If you're planning on buying one of these cars, sorry, it just kind of comes with the territory, I would say. But this car runs really strong. I mean, it has 165,000 miles on it. It's never really ever let me down. The only time I ever really had a problem with it was when I put non-factory coils in it. Definitely don't recommend that. Use original Nissan parts. I did replace the knock sensor, but that was just more because I thought I needed it, but I didn't. It was just bad coils. So you can kind of hear the some of the notchiness in third gear. That only happens if you're being a little bit callous driving around with a camera. So it's not too bad. So we can just do a third gear shift right now. And it does go for third gear. Yeah, it's a fun little car to drive. Definitely needs a little bit of sorting out, but very drivable, very usable car. Handles great out of the box, which is nice. Alright. beeping is just my progressive driving monitor. I'm sure it's not liking what I'm doing right now.